And we are back with another outstanding episode. Square Table Degenerates. Today we welcome to the show pro golfer Miss Emma Talley. How are you today, ma'am?
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's been a mild October. Like I know you're down in Nashville. We'll get into some Nashville stuff in a second, but man, up here in Ohio, it's been nice though. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the leaves are changing still, so you still get that part, but it's not it's not raining or anything, but man, that sun glare is just killing me. Like I go to the store and get a coffee or something. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
oh my goodness. So you were brought up in Kentucky, right? Western Kentucky, Paducah, it said, right in the
yeah.
river.
It's called Princeton, Kentucky, but everyone says Paducah because if you know where Princeton is, it's super tiny. So about an hour and a half north of Nashville.
Okay, okay. So how far were you from the river, the Ohio River there?
Probably a couple hours. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm kind of in that little hump at the end of the state.
Okay, okay. So you're way further inland than that stuff. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, maybe an hour and a half,
There's so many
something
like
like
little,
that.
little mountains and roads and everything in Kentucky. Kentucky's a fun state, man. I really like Kentucky. I mean, I'm from Ohio, obviously, but like, so we see like a lot of the eastern stuff, more by West Virginia and Mammoth Cave and stuff like that. But I've never been out to Western Kentucky. I mean, we've driven through it, I guess, because we went to Nashville. But did you have what non? I mean, before you got into golf and all that, what was some of your hobbies coming in? Were you like riding four wheelers, going mudding, playing creeks? What was the deal
That's
back
what
then?
all my friends did for sure. I mean, my best friend growing up, she showed pigs. So that was interesting. Also, at our graduation, I Jello wrestled at our high school graduation. So I definitely grew up in the South and in the hillbilly land. But it was so good to grow up there because my parents, no one in my family played golf growing up. So I I played every sport growing up, and then I just fell in love with golf, and so basically that's kind of what happened. And I'm the youngest of four, so my parents were able to kind of bounce around, get me to the tournaments that I needed to go to, and it was really cool. It was a great place to grow up.
All right, so let's get you went really fast at one part that made me laugh. You say you Jello wrestled in high school. Now, was this for like a charity thing? We raising money for like the band or something? What was the deal with the Jello wrestling? And did
Okay.
they did they get one big giant drum of Jello and make it, or like was there like 50 people putting packets in there with the hose? How did that work?
Okay, so basically, sadly, a teacher's child passed away um, after coming back from graduation one night, and it was called Project Graduation. So they had that in our hometown so that all the kids wouldn't go out and party. So they basically pay you to play sports all night long, and then buses will take you home. So you can make lots of money in during graduation. So they keep all the kids after senior year, after graduation, and so yeah, basically they get mattresses, probably like three mattresses on the bottom, then one on then covered on this side, and then they cover it with tarps, and then I don't know how they get the Jello in there, but I think they do it with gallon buckets and they freeze them, put them in the refrigerator, and then they dump them in. And yeah, I won though. That's all I gotta say. I won.
Now, when you're in the Jello, do you bring whipped cream with you? Like, is there you want to eat any of the Jello? Because that'd be my problem. Like, I mean,
Oh
besides the fact I'm out of shape now, but like, if I was to wrestle or do anything in any kind of food, I'd really want to eat that food. I like Jello. I fuck with some Jello. You know what I mean? It's good for you. So
yeah, I guess
well, you
not
were
that Jello.
no okay. Makes me wonder if it was even Jello. It would have been like some Jello byproduct, like non-edible Jello, like the stuff to give the hippos, the zoo, or some shit. You know what I mean?
I don't
It's
know. I think it was real Jello. But it dyed all your clothes. They told us to wear old clothes because it's gonna ruin your clothes. It was cool. It was fun. People in my hometown, sadly, they went cow tipping. I never did that. They went mudding, and yeah, we're in hillbilly land.
Well, they do. Well, I mean, besides, what was when you were younger? Did you go like ballet? Did we any hillbilly stuff? Or was it just kind of all stereotypical Western Kentucky stuff? What was the deal?
No, my parents weren't really hillbillies, so I have to say, like, I just was a normal kid. I was on the swim team. Yeah, I had ballet lessons. I did piano. I was just like, I did everything. I was just a normal kid for sure. Played all the
Okay.
sports.
All right. So how old was you when you got into the golf stuff? Like, were you, I mean, obviously you did in high school, but was it like, were you like Tiger Woods at 2 years old, out there, hitting a little ball, or what was the, I mean, like, how did you get into it first off?
I started when I was 9. I basically just grew up on a golf course in my hometown, on the 16th fairway, and I started playing golf, and I was really good at it. And my dad took me to take lessons from this guy in Paducah, Kentucky, named Todd Trimble, and started doing that. And then basically at 10 years old, I started going around the country, around the state, and playing golf tournaments. And I got pretty good pretty fast. And then you kind of go to the next level. So then I started playing bigger junior tournaments, and then you go to the next level and you start playing around the country. And then I went to college, and then you just keep going. It's just like a ladder step. You just kind of keep building on to that. So, um, yeah, it was pretty crazy, a wild ride considering that no one in my family played golf.
Yeah, that's gonna be my next question. So you had like no uncles, aunts, none of your parents, none of your siblings, none of them play golf.
None
Was
of them.
was there like an inspiration? I mean, this is I'm trying to do the math here. This is probably around what 2001, 2002 ish. What was there somebody you were watching like, oh, Tiger Woods is really good, or Seve Ballesteros? I don't even know. You're
Not
watching old.
really. No, I just I played basketball. I loved basketball, and I remember we lost like every game, but I would score like 20 points, and it made me mad that we sucked so bad. But that I was playing well myself, and I think that's one thing that like drew me towards golf, because like how much you work at it is how much you get out of it. And I really liked that concept. And then I like to talk. I love people. I have a high interest in people, I think. And so that was the second thing. Like, what other sport do you get to walk around for 4 hours with some friends and just talk? So that was pretty cool too. So I think those two things to get combined really kind of grew my love for the game away from just like the game itself. I loved it, and I still do. I love the game. I'm 30. I'm almost 31, and I still love the game of golf. So pretty cool, and I'll get to play golf. It's like the only sport that you can play forever. You can't really go out and play football by yourself on a
Right? There's no
Saturday.
there's no senior NFL tour. We don't have like 80-year-old Joe Namath out here running around in a senior league and fall over. Right?
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
remember I've been following golf for, I mean, no, I'm not like an active golf follower, but I mean, passively. And back in the day before, Tiger Woods and all that, and there was times when the senior tour was almost even more competitive than the regular tour. That's how good the, 50, I don't know what it is, 45 and up, 50 and up or whatever, but that's how good, how long you just playing golf and how competitive it is, how fun it is.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great sport to be a part of, and like you said, you can play forever. So it's great. I love it.
Now, is golf something you're born with, or is it something you can learn?
I think a little bit of both. Like, I remember the first time I hit a golf ball, my dad says that it was incredible. He was like, "Your golf swing looked perfect," and um, but I think it's a little bit of just like good hand-eye coordination too. I loved ping pong growing up, and I was pretty athletic growing up. My dad was athletic, my brother was athletic, my mom was athletic. So I think just all of it combined. But I definitely worked my butt off. I've worked so hard. I don't know if you've ever read the book Outliers, but it talks about the 10,000 hour rule of hitting perfection. My dad was all about that growing up. So yeah, I worked really hard, but I also I think there's a little bit of like you grow up with you got to be athletic. You wouldn't think you would need to be that athletic to hit a little white golf ball and sitting still on the ground, but for some reason you do.
Well, is there any? I mean, you got famously got guys like John Daly and stuff like that. But is there any famously non-athletic people who have? I mean, non-athletic looking people. I guess. I mean, I guess Babe Ruth, David Ortiz, guys like that were athletes and they were portly gentlemen. But I mean, is there any that comes to mind in your head? Is there any non-athletic, stereotypical looking people that have had extended success in golf? I mean, is that even a thing, or is that just like a one-off party kind of thing? What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't look athletic, but who are. I mean, John Daly's a great example. I mean, he's probably one of the best athletes. Tiger Woods said it himself. He always said that like John Daly would be way better than him if he had the work ethic that Tiger had. So, um, yeah, it's not necessarily that I could run a 440 real fast, but my hand-eye coordination is pretty good, like your feel and your touch. So, um, yeah, I mean, there's definitely, if you walked out on the men's tour and you walked out on the LPGA tour, a lot of those guys are only like 5'7", 5'9", and they hit the ball 350. I mean, but they're fast, they're quick, they're those little muscles work really fast. And same thing with the girls. I mean, I'm tall for a girl, but you wouldn't look at me and be like, oh, she's a professional athlete. I'm just like a normal girl.
Right. Well, people never look at me and think, "Oh, there's a professional athlete." They think there's a guy maybe tried out for football, but almost yeah, I'm the same way. My work ethic was horrible. Like I'm a taller guy. I'm about 6'3", but like I just didn't I never like lifting weights. I hated practice. I love game nights, man. Friday night football. I mean, that's nothing better, right? But man, just practice and just hitting people all day, and you come home from practice and your arms are bruised all up and down. And I was just trying to get drunk too back then, smoke Marlboros and all that. It's a different time in the '90s, man. So I feel that so much, totally. But like,
Yeah.
like, how do you get better? You talk about you were from the rip. You had a pro that came down and saw you. Is it and then just being on teams help you a little bit? Like when you get into high school, you're on a team, I think, right? Does that
Yeah,
help
you're
you? Just
supposed to be, but my hometown, we didn't have enough people. I was the only girl on the high school team, but I mean, I have to give a lot of it to my parents. My parents worked their butts off and helped me. My grandpa was a football coach, and so he kind of had that coaching mentality, and I think that was given to my dad. And even though my dad wasn't your typical golf crazy dad, he was a really good coach. So obviously, like, I worked so hard and I still work really hard. I think as a golfer, you're to be a golfer, you have to be you have to be crazy and weird because it's a perfectionist game, but you're never going to perfect it. So it drives you nuts, but it's so good and it's so fun. And um, yeah, my parents definitely are the backbone of why I'm getting to play professional golf.
Now, is golf with other golfers? Is it like a supportive environment? Like I imagine how skateboarding is. Like everybody's, oh yeah, go out there and do that trick, and then you got to. Is it like that with golf, or is just? I mean, when you're interacting with the other golfers, is it very social? Like, I mean, I know if when I get together with my buddies, I don't stop talking. We just yap, 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 yap the whole time. Is it like that with golf, or is it more a lot of people reserve? What's the deal with the sociality of it and the supportiveness of the other athletes?
Yeah, we're all really close. There's 144 girls that play every week. There's 144 caddies, the same rules officials, the same staff. We travel around each week and we play golf tournaments. So we have to be really close because we're traveling together week in to week out. Um, but on the backside of that, like during practice rounds and stuff, where we all chit chat and have fun. But when it's game time, like it's definitely more serious. Your caddy's kind of your person that you're going to be chit chatting to. But it's definitely one of those atmospheres. It's very serious, but it's also, uh, yeah, I don't think anyone's ever rooting against each other, if that makes sense. Because there's no defense in golf. You just have to
Right.
do your best, and then at the end of the day, whoever wins wins. So I don't think you're ever like not rooting for someone, but you're not rooting for them either. You're kind of in your own lane, and you just do your thing, and hopefully at the end of the day, your score's the lowest.
Okay. Now it appears you started killing it in high school in the golf, and you just say you were the only person even on the team. How did that work? You just drove around to different tournaments, or just said, "Hey, I'm, coming in, and we got one girl here. She's going to play." What was the like? How long was the season? Like football season is the fall. Is golf like in the spring? What was up with that?
High school golf in Kentucky, it's different in every state, but high school golf in Kentucky is in the fall. And yeah, I mean, my dad, like I said, I had high school coaches per se, but I mean, my dad was my coach. Yeah, we played all around the state, and you had to play so many tournaments to qualify. I had a really good high school career. I started playing. My first regional tournament was in fourth grade, and my first state tournament was in fifth grade. And then I won state and region several times. So I had a great high school career, and it kind of led me to Alabama. Roll Tide.
Now, in a typical week back then in high school, how much were you out there practicing golfing? Like 30 hours a week? Like this including tournaments and practice. You know what I mean? How long would you say you were out there spending golfing?
Oh, I mean, I would say more than that because every day after school, I mean, I'd practice for at least 3 hours, maybe more, depending on when it would get dark. Then I'd go work out at night, and then on the weekends it was sun up to sundown. So pretty much all the time I practiced a lot. Golf's one of those tricky sports because you don't get physically tired. You get mentally tired, but you don't get that physically tired. So you can stay out there all day and feel like you can't stop. But when you have the love for the game at that age, you just never want to put the clubs down. You want to just keep going and going. And thankfully for me, like my golf course was on the back of my house. So I was able to like take little mini breaks, go inside, get a snack, and go right back out. I didn't have like these awkward where you'd have to get in the car and drive. I just came home. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, I loved it growing up in a small town. They didn't even have a pro shop. They didn't have tea times. You just went out and played golf. So it was really cool.
Now, at what was there some point you were in high school where you started getting noticed by the colleges?
Yeah. So I remember the first time I'd ever gotten an offer was in sixth grade, or was it sixth grade or eighth grade? Probably sixth grade, and then eighth grade they all started watching me, and then I committed to Alabama when I was a junior because at the time they could talk to you in middle school, but they couldn't talk to you in high school. So that's how they got around the rules. So but they would all come to all the tournaments. Kind of every coach would come to the big tournaments, so you got to see who was interested in you. And then I went on all my unofficial visits, and then committed to Alabama. They were number one at the time, which was really cool. They just won the national championship, and I took one of their best players they had. She left, and I came in, so I had big shoes to fill.
Okay. Did you what other visits did you take besides Alabama? Or was it always
Oh
gonna
my
be
gosh,
Alabama?
I took so many visits, way too many visits. I think I took 18 college visits, which was crazy, but I have to say, I mean, it was so fun. And the reason I did it is because some of the places I knew I wasn't going to, but um like I had friends there, like friends that I was like, "Oh, maybe I will like it." But I knew I wanted to go south of Kentucky just because the weather. Um so yeah, I mean, I went to Texas A&M, Georgia, Vandy, uh, Kentucky, Louisville, um, Arkansas. I mean, name them, and I probably went there. Florida. I went everywhere, so it was pretty cool because I got to watch a lot of cool football games through that process.
Oh, 100%. I was
Ohio
wait,
State. I visited Ohio State.
oh, nice, nice. Good old Buckeyes. We'll get into some Buckeyes here in a minute. Now, what ultimately drove you to go to Alabama? Was it Forrest Gump? Was there something? What was the hook?
Well, the coaches there had been there for a long time. They were number one in the country. It was only 5 hours away from home. It was in the South where the weather was good for golf. Golf in Golf in college is fall and spring. So that was important to me to be in the warm because obviously you have to practice all year round. So yeah, that's how I ended up at Alabama. And the facilities, like besides just the golf facilities, everything, they really focus on all their facilities. So like where we worked out was the same place the football team worked out. So the facilities were sick, and like how they treat every sport is really cool.
Right. Yeah, you were down there for a couple national titles, not 2014, go Buckeyes. But describe for those who never went to college, for those maybe overseas, we got a lot of UK viewers. One, what are the tailgates like at events like Bama football? And two,
Yeah.
how objectively fun is it to be in college and be in a college town when the national title is won? Just describe
Yeah.
that experience.
Well, it was really cool because I'll get to the football, but when I was at school, there were 12 different teams or individuals that won a national championship. So that only counts football once in the 4 years, and they won three. Um, But my roommate at the time, she won back-to-back national championships in doubles tennis. I won the national championship. A girl that we were friends with won in pole vaulting. Another friend won in track and field. Another friend won in rowing, gymnastics, cheerleading. Like you name it, we probably won a national championship while we were there. And it was just a really cool atmosphere. Tuscaloosa, Alabama is totally a college town. I mean, there's not much there other than the school. So everybody there is rooting for you week in to week out. Even the people that, you know, I call them townies, but like even the people that are just living in Tuscaloosa working, like they're for you. And it was just a really cool experience to be a part of. And um, the tailgate experience, I mean, so cool. They 100, I think it's 100,000 people we have that can be in our stadium, and they say that 100,000 people just come to tailgate. So I mean, you couldn't see any ground on we called it the quad. You couldn't see any piece of ground. There were tents everywhere. I remember one of my visits, LSU. There's an LSU team. We were playing LSU, and they threw out something, and I went to pick it down, and they rolled in tiger bait, tiger bait, tiger bait. So I mean, it was just like you can't even explain it because it's so good. And you've got 40,000 students your own age at college, like it's so good. And I mean, you're kind of talking to a loser. They preach at Alabama. There's three S's: studies, sports, and social. And they tell you like you can pick two, but you're probably not going to be good at all three. And so I really took that to heart, and I like really I've studied hard, and I did my sports very hard, but golf's different too. Like as an athlete, you're waking up at 5:30 in the morning for workouts, and we had qualifying at 7 a.m. on Saturdays, and Sundays. So I mean, you couldn't really do much. You really had to focus, and they're paying you a lot, even though it's through scholarship, but they're paying you a lot of money to be there to play your sport. So you kind of have to remember that part of it too. But it was so cool. I loved it. Like I said, it was just such a cool experience to be a part of the national championships. I never got to go to a national championship game because we were always at golf tournaments, but um, such a cool experience.
All right. So did you ever get to like pop a beer with like Derrick Henry or Joe Namath? And if not, who is the most famous Bama student or alum that you've ran into over the years?
Oh gosh, that's funny. Joe Namath, I've played golf with him before. Super cool dude. I didn't even know who he was at first because I'm just like so into my lane. It was at a golf event, and I was just hitting balls. And um, Derrick Henry we had a lot of classes together, so we go back. And then my favorite story is when I first got to college. I had met a few football guys during our orientation, and one of them was Reggie Ragland, who became a really good friend of mine. The first day I went to dining, I walked in and I didn't know anyone in there. And I saw these two guys sitting beside each other, and Reggie was one of them. So I went up to him and I was like, "Hey, Reggie, do you mind if I sit with you guys?" And it was him. To come to find out, it was him and Landon Collins. And I was like, "Oh, what position do you play? Are you any good?" Yada yada yada. In the first game, they both start as freshmen for Alabama, and I was like, "Oh man!" And then obviously they both went pro. They still play professionally. Landon Collins was a legend at Alabama. He didn't stay the whole time. Um, but then like one of my best friends, Justin Thomas, he's kind of, I mean, he's a rock star PGA Tour player. Won the FedEx, and obviously just really good. He's probably a big deal if you looked at all the people at Alabama. He's probably up there. And we both are from Kentucky and played junior golf, and then played together at Alabama. And I don't know. I mean, there's there's so many. Everybody there is famous.
Right.
That's the
Jeez.
crazy part. Like Greg McElroy was always at the facilities. AJ McCarron, well, like I remember just studying beside him at study hall. So I mean, yeah, there's so many. I can't even name them all. There's so many football players and other athletes that you become really close to, and you don't even see them as like athletes. You're just like, oh, there's Reggie on TV.
Right. Right. Cool as hell, man. Hell yeah. Now, we all miss some things about college, but what sticks out to you about something that you just really miss about college?
um, to be honest, like college sports, they do everything for you. You get everything paid for. You're playing. I don't think it's like this as much anymore because we didn't have NIL or the portal, but you were like very loyal, and you were playing for Alabama, and it was I loved that. I loved being on a team. I loved playing for the University of Alabama. It was just so much fun every way possible. You had no responsibility. That's what I miss. No bills to pay. You just living life, going to school, playing golf. It was sick.
Right. For me, I wish they like had legal weed back then in college. That'd have been really, that would have been, that would help me out. Really nice. Really nice. Now, when you're doing stuff like this, is there a constant temptation in a situation like yours to turn pro? Like, were you ever in a situation where you would have made more money if you were professional, that kind of thing?
I won the USAM in the national championship, and after my junior year, like I probably would have made more money. But I'm glad I didn't do it. I think back to that a lot, and I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't do it because professional golf is hard. It's a grind, and you travel like 35 weeks out of the year with the golf tournaments, and then like sponsor obligations and stuff. So it's a grind. So no, I'm glad I didn't do it, but there was definitely a time I probably could have made more money.
Now, on top of that, how blessed you talked about a little bit ago with the NIL, but how blessed these kids playing the NCAA right now with all this NIL stuff? I mean,
I mean, it might be it's a huge blessing, but it could be a curse at the end of the day
it's
for
good.
the NCAA. But what a crazy topic. I mean, I don't know how to like even talk about it really because I think it's awesome that there's kids getting paid that maybe aren't going to make it pro, but they've given their whole life to a sport. And then, but on the same time, like I think it's ruining college sports and um, yeah, I think it's gonna be hard the next couple years until they figure out some rules and regulations because it's getting to the point where like I've heard that there's bullying going on because they all talk about how much they make and like some kids make more than others and it's just like everything's a competition rather than like being a team and trying to win championships together. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's pretty crazy.
Now, what are some things in college you would have had brand deals with if you think back?
Well, Callaway would be the big one because I've been playing Callaway clubs and using their golf ball since I was 14 years old. So Callaway would have been the big one. If I could pick one, oh, that's hard. I don't know what I would pick. Um, Callaway would have been a big one, but other than that, I mean, one of my friends that was at Alabama, her name was Brooke Pancake, and Waffle House sponsored her, so that's pretty sick. That'd be a fun one if you had like a cool name that like hers that you know, coexist with with a company. But I don't know who else, but Callaway would have been up there.
I remember Jake Booty played for Michigan. He signed a thing with Charmin toilet paper. That was kind of funny.
Yeah. See, that's fun. I would like that.
All right, what foreign countries have you been to in your golfing career, both amateur and pro?
Oh my gosh, so many. We travel all over Europe and the UK. We've traveled to Australia, we've traveled to New Zealand, most of Asia, Japan, Singapore, Thailand, China, South Korea, um, Hawaii, Canada, Mexico, so many places. The LA2, the Ladies European Tour, they cover even more. But we've covered a lot. It's pretty crazy the amount of travel that we do. It's fun though to see different cultures and different parts of the world.
Now, had you been to the UK or Europe like before on private trips when you were little, or did you do it for the first time and you started golfing?
Golfing actually, yeah. I played in the Junior Ryder Cup, and that was my first time over in Europe, and that was in, I think, 2010. So yeah, golf kind of started the travel, and then I ended up marrying a guy from New Zealand. So now I'm constantly going to New Zealand, which is pretty cool.
Now, do you remember anything in particular that struck you as odd as, say, like the UK compared to the States? Like, did you have any culture shock when you first went overseas?
Everything's older, right? Like we like to tear down buildings, build them back. We like the fancy cars. They don't have any fancy cars. Everything's pretty basic, I think, over in other countries. Like America, we like to, it's like keeping up with the Jones factor, whereas like other countries don't do that as much. I mean, obviously everyone does it to an extent, but um, like New Zealand, for example, it's so hard to get cars over there imported because it's on the other side of the world and it's so far from everybody that there's not that many fancy cars. So it just kind of depends. Yeah, but yeah, we're just we're spoiled in America for sure.
What's the longest you've been out of the States?
At a time.
Yeah, for like one period, like 6 weeks,
Uh,
like 3 weeks.
Probably like 5 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, not too bad. Because we kind of every week's a different place, so we always come back.
Okay. Now describe the process of going pro. Is it as simple as like in Happy Gilmore where you just try out and you get a tour card, and we'll get into some more Happy Gilmore later, by the way. And or is there like a bunch of paying your dues, like being on a ninth green at 9, like in Happy Gilmore? Or basically what's the deal with turning pro? How do you do this?
Well, there's this thing called qualifying school. So basically, you have to go to there's pre-qualifying school, then first stage, second stage, third stage, and now it works a little different than when I was doing it. But basically, you just have to go and play in a tournament. Like this week is this actually today was the third round of second stage of qualifying school, and I think there's like 120 people there, and the top 35 move on to the last stage of Q school, and then people that have already qualified from like our tour, so there'll be like 120 I think again, and only 25 get their card for next year, and then the rest of them get mini tour status. So it's really competitive. You've got players from all over the world playing against each other, trying to, and all on all ages. You've got girls who've been out on tour for 8 years that have to go back to the tournament and play, and then you've got girls who are just like 18 years old coming out of high school. Then you've got girls that are coming out of college. So the depth is deep out on tour. So yeah, it's pretty intense for sure.
All right, now is it true that you have to pay for like everything, like your airfare and taxis and caddy and whatnot? And in your opinion, is this like a huge, really huge barrier to entry for this sport?
Yes. Not to beat around the bush, but yeah, I mean it's tough, especially now. Big like you got to pay for your own rental car, hotel, airfare, your caddy, sometimes your caddy's flight. So yeah, it's intense. But the cool thing is like I have sponsors, so if you have good sponsors, then that helps a lot. And I've been very fortunate my whole career to have good sponsors. So I'm very thankful for that. And then also on top of that, um, I think a lot of girls when they come out, it is a grind, but thankfully a lot of our sponsors on tour are starting to help with like hotel or rental car or something like that. But it's expensive to do this, and so you're always kind of starting the year in the negatives.
Okay, is the tour something where like a lot of people have a side hustle? I mean, is it where most of the ladies can be self sufficient? Or is like what do I mean? Do like people out here mowing lawns? What's I mean, do most of them have day jobs, or what's the deal there?
No, most people don't have side hustles. You can make it. If you're on the LPGA tour, you're just fine. But I know there's a lot of girls on the mini tours that do have to supplement. So sometimes they give lessons or they might have something. But for the most part, if you're on the LPGA tour, you're good to go.
Okay. Now, how do you pick your caddy, and do caddies like really help you on the tour? I saw you married a caddy. Was this like J Lo marrying a backup dancer situation? Like, was he your caddy? If not, how did you guys meet?
So my husband used to be an engineer, and then he came to America, and he was just going to travel the country for a while, and then go back, end up in London because they're part of the Commonwealth. And one of his friends asked him if he could caddy for her just for 1 week at the U.S. Open because they went to a golf academy together in high school in New Zealand. And he said, "Sure, I would love to." So he did it for a week, and then we met a couple weeks after that, and then yeah, we just started dating. He did caddy for me one time at the very before we started dating. And it went well, but he does not caddy for me. That would be very bad if he caddied for me. Like we would not be married, that's for sure. But he does caddy for a different player on the LPGA tour.
Okay. Now, with the caddies, just do they I mean like when you're out there golfing? Is it like I hate to reference Happy Gilmore again, but we'll get into Happy Gilmore in a second. But is it really like that? Where they're like, all right, down here to the left, and can they see something you can't see, or is it just kind of like a here's your club kind of
It's a
situation?
teamwork. It's definitely teamwork. Like they're trying to make sure that they're always kind of pointing you to the smarter area of the green. They always get the numbers, and really they're just trying to make sure that you're not going to go for something that's not worth it. So it's like a risk reward kind of situation. So if a caddy's helping you, And it's a lot mental too. Like if you have someone confirming what you're doing, then that'll help you hit a better shot. So, and the wind, obviously the wind for me, I do not like wind. I'm not very good at it, but my caddies have always helped me a lot with the wind direction and how much it's going to affect the golf ball and just kind of like talking through every golf course. Cause unlike other sports, the golf course and the conditions are different every single day. So you kind of need it's just kind of like a teammate. But yes, they definitely help you a lot, especially if you have a good one.
Okay. Now explain to me the different levels of tours in women golf. And is it like a this or that kind of thing? Or do you got to like earn your way up to a specific level? And is it mostly just like fun and hit the links and chill at the sponsor party? Or is when you go to an event, is it more laborious? Like, I'm just basically bringing my clubs here. We check in the hotel, go to the event, play golf, go back and
No,
leave.
it's brutal. So basically on Mondays, you either travel or you traveled on Sunday night, and then on Mondays you play probably 9 holes or maybe practice a little bit, or some girls will take off on Mondays, and then on Tuesday is the practice round. So you're practicing, you're getting your reps in, you're also getting the speed of the greens, and then Wednesday is the pro-am. So you're playing with the sponsors that are basically making the tournament happen, and then it starts on Thursday through Sunday you play, then Sunday night you fly out, or Monday morning you fly out, depending on where the next tournament is. So it's pretty hectic and it's a lot. It's hard. It's a grind.
Okay, like the different levels is I saw the LPGA tour and it said you were on some kind of other tour that used to be a different tour. How does is that? Can you be on both those at the same time? Do you got to be on like one specific tour at a time? How does that kind of thing work?
It depends on your status, which is we don't have enough time to talk about that because it's very complicated. I don't even know all the rules, but it depends on what status you have. So like if you have there's like class A, class B, class C, and there's different priority numbers. So like depending on where you are, depends on what tour you play on and how many starts you'll get on both tours. But if you're in the top 100, then you basically keep your card, so you only can play LPGA.
Okay. Now, do you get if you go into like Golf Galaxy, you get a card? They're like, hey, I got 20% off because I'm a tour, or do they? What do you think?
No, we don't get nothing.
Nothing. That's horrible.
Nothing.
That's horrible. If you're out there, Golf Galaxy, give these poor people a discount, man. That's horrible. All right, now what trophy that's on your mantle are you most proud of?
Oh, you'll be pretty pumped about this. The one that's holding up my phone right now is the national championship trophy. So that's what's holding my phone up at the moment.
Nice.
That one's pretty cool. Obviously, the USAM stuff is pretty cool, but um, I don't know. I mean, I think now that I'm getting older, I'm a little bit more sentimental. I think just like all of it together is pretty cool. I think that you hear Nick Saban, you hear different coaches talk about like success and what success looks like, but both my roommate and I, when we both won the national championship, we were kind of shocked with what it felt like when you won. It was you kind of thought about all the things that got you there rather than that one single moment. And I know that's a little cliche, but that moment holding the trophy lasts like what 2 seconds, and then it's like, okay, what do I have to do next? And you still have to go eat dinner that night and put your head on your pillow and figure out what is going to happen the next day. So to be honest with you, like all of it's cool because I think most things in life, like it's all a process, and I worked my butt off to get that trophy, but it was all the things before that came along to get me there. So yeah, I don't know. I know that's a little cliche, but all of it's pretty cool.
Heck yeah. All right, now let's get into some Happy Gilmore. Now,
You're gonna
this
be
is
mad because I'm not a big golf movie bug, but I'll try.
all right. So why is this might be just a Gen X thing, I don't know, but why is this one of the best movies of golf of all time? Probably one of the best movies of all time, period. Now, how old were you when you first saw it? And obviously it didn't inspire you in any way to become a golfer. So that question doesn't apply. But how old do you remember at what point did you watch this movie?
This is so embarrassing. Like, I hate this question because it's so embarrassing. I didn't watch this movie until I was in college, which is insane. And I've never seen Caddyshack.
Oh wow, that would be my closing question on this whole line. This
But
is
I loved
crazy.
Miracle on Ice with the USA team.
That Kurt Russell just keep they just kept skating
Yeah.
until he puked. That
Yeah,
was great.
that one I can vibe with.
Okay. Now, how are you at miniature golf? Like, if you played a random person at a park in a game of putt putt, would you have any skill against them, in your opinion, or is miniature golf just miniature golf?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I would be very good at miniature golf. I'd get frustrated. Yeah, no, I don't think I have an up.
All right. Now, who is in your opinion, the most famous golfer you've ever met?
Probably Tiger. I got to meet Tiger, so Tiger definitely.
How are any of these guys covered with security? Like, does Tiger have a big dude standing around him, or does he just go to the car and drive home like we do?
I don't really know. I'm sure he does have security. We were at a tournament at the Junior Open when I first got to meet him for the first time, and because we were all in a room that was like with our team and their team, like there was no security. We were all just kind of hanging out. So, um, but I was only like 14 or 15 at the time, so um, it was a lot of people. So yeah, he was very nice, and we got to meet all the guys in the Ryder Cup that year. So it was pretty cool.
All right, and so you can't answer my question to which would you take between Caddyshack and Happy Gilmore because you never seen
Happy
Caddyshack.
Gilmore, because I gotta go Happy Gilmore.
Caddyshack's a good movie. It's it's a little dated now, but it's I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh Emma, you gotta go watch it right now. It's whatever. I mean, if it's on, pay attention. I don't know, whatever. But now I know the answer to this question because it's completely awesome. But what were the reasons you guys moved to Nashville besides it being completely awesome?
No state income tax state, close to my family, close to my coach, and close to the airport.
Boom. Do you have any favorite? Do you guys go out at all? Do you guys like got some pubs you go down to in downtown Nashville, or do you guys kind of more homebody-ish, or what's
I
the deal?
mean, I wish we were home enough to really enjoy Nashville because Nashville's really cool. But in the off weeks, a lot of times the other caddies or we'll have a physio or somebody come stay with us, and so we'll definitely go downtown. I'm not a big like party girl, sadly. I know that's probably disappointing, but all the music is just like so good. It's so fun. They're so talented. There's music in the airport now. I mean, there's music everywhere you go. So Nashville is just a cool spot to be in right now, that's for sure. And like we have so many new sports coming in town. Nashville's a cool spot.
I was because I was just whatever. I didn't know about it, and then we went down there probably 3 years ago, and it's just such a cool vibe because like the people who are down there for the music, they're like up and coming. They really want to be there, and they're really trying hard. You know what I mean? So you get
And
that.
they're talented.
Oh, they are understand. They're really gritty, and they're just just doing it for the love of it. And they'll struggle. That's you can't replicate that kind of feel. You just can't. And obviously, all the bachelor parties is cool too, and the Johnny Cash music, stuff like that. But it's just a really fun town, man. I'm definitely gonna get back to Nashville sometime. I always say
changed
that
a lot in 3 years, so you definitely need to come back.
it got expensive from what I heard. My buddy, this guy, he was all intent to moving to Nashville, and he just gave up his dreams because like the prices just got too high for him. He couldn't do it. It's great.
Yeah, it's so expensive. It's nuts.
All right, we got a question from Mick. He says, "How many sets of clubs do you have?"
Oh gosh. 20 maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I'd say 20 is a good guess.
I got
Maybe
one.
more. Actually, more because usually I get 2 sets of clubs a year. So, yeah, maybe 35. I don't know.
Oh, so you get that? They give you a new set every year, like the new models, and they just give them to you every year. Okay.
Well, and also the grooves get worn out. So, like when you need new grooves, you get a new set. They're the
That's
same
true.
thing, but they're new. It's a new set. So, I don't know. Good question. I would say something around there.
Okay.
I've
Now my
given a lot
son,
away though, so there's none really up here.
I got an old set of clubs. It's like somewhere up there in the rafters. I don't know. It's been probably 5 years since I've been golfing. No, 3 years, 4. No, yeah, 5. God damn, 5 years. I need to go back golfing, man. I do. All right. Now my son wants to go to Japan, and you said you were in Japan, right?
Yeah,
So
so cool.
aside from the long ass flight, I mean, I've been to Korea with the service. I know like the flights to Asia, you can't get around that 14-hour flight. What would you recommend about Japan? Like, what's cool about Japan and all that?
The people are so nice. The food is so good. The environment is so pretty. Depending on where you go, like you can go out in the country, or you can go like in Tokyo. Um, it's so good. Everything about it is so good, so clean. It's a great place.
I'm looking forward to. I'm thinking I was going to try next year, but I don't know if I'll be able to. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see come
It's
tax
so
time.
good.
Because I get these Browns tickets, Emma, these Brown season tickets. And if you ever watched football, you know anything about football, you know the Browns are absolute dog shit. So it's like I'm really, really debating whether or not I'm going to get these things next year because it's like for the game this weekend, for example. You know, I mean, if I didn't have season tickets, I probably wouldn't go. But if I wanted to go, you know, we're 1-5. The ticket's like $30. I pay $90 for these seats. It's getting a little old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to balance that out in life. Maybe I can just take that and go to Japan with it. Who knows? All
Yeah,
right.
me too. Japan schooler, sorry.
Oh, you're fine. All right. Now, how annoying is tax time for you?
Is what?
How annoying is tax time for you?
Text time.
Yeah, like you're doing your taxes. You got a bunch of receipts from all the different tournaments around the world. Do you just give them to somebody, or how does your taxes get done?
Oh, my taxes.
Taxes,
I'm
yeah.
over here like, what word are you speaking of? Yes, that is very complicated because every tournament you play in, you have to pay city and state tax where we play. Thank goodness for accountants. That's all I gotta say. I just hand it to them and they do it.
Brother Quint with the super chat. Thank you so much, sir. Did you go out to any of your high school reunions, and if so, was it fun?
Well, I only had one high school reunion. I was at a golf tournament, so I was not there. But cool fun fact is a guy that graduated in my class was our mayor when he was like, that had been 5 years ago, maybe like 25 years old. He was the mayor of our hometown.
Okay,
That's
that's cool.
weird, right? He was 25 and he was the mayor.
When I was
And he
25,
killed it. He did so good. So I feel like he's gonna just keep going. I think he's I don't know what he is now. He's something even higher now.
okay.
I
Good
know.
luck. Good luck. All right, now how are you at Golden Tee? And like, are you in that game or any video games?
I have no idea what that means. I'm not a video game girl. I don't have time for video games. I wish I did. I'll be honest, I'm a book nerd. Like I am so nerdy. I love books, I love TV, and I love sleep.
Sleeping's good. I'm a very big sleeper myself. You know, I have a philosophy on sleep. When I'm tired, I go to sleep. So for those of you who
Yes.
have trouble going to sleep, just sleep when you're tired, and you'll take care of
Yeah, you'll be
that.
fine.
Well, Golden Tee is a game at a bar. It's like a golf simulator game with a giant ball, and you push it, and the thing goes. I was just curious if you ever played that, or have you ever been in any video games to the best of your knowledge, or no?
No, no.
Okay.
I'm
The
not
shit,
that cool. I'm a little cool, but I'm not that cool.
they had a couple. They had a couple women golfers in the Tiger Woods there for a little bit, but I cannot remember for the life of me who it was. I
Yeah,
can't.
I'm sure Michelle Wee was one of them. I don't know who else. I know Michelle probably was it, but that's the only one I would know. Maybe Lexi Thompson was probably another one.
God, I can't remember the one name. Whatever, it was 15 years ago, and not expecting myself to remember this. All right, now is there like a strict dress code in golf, and is there anything that you'd like to change about that?
It's gotten way better over the years. Like if you look at the founding women that started the LPGA tour, they wore like long skirts all the way down to their ankles with like socks that were like folded, polo shirt. But now, like I could wear this hoodie and I'd be totally fine. But definitely a collared shirt. It's a little strict, but it's gotten better. Golf has gotten a lot more chill over the last few years.
I would allow shorts on the course because, like, you know, I'm a big guy. You know, I tend to sweat. All the golf places, all the good golf places are in the south. We gotta be real. So, like, these
Yeah,
places are drastically hot. Like, they're so hot out there, and
yeah.
I gotta allow people to wear shorts. I mean, some
Well,
places.
we're able to wear shorts, thank goodness. That's just
Okay.
the men's rule. So like, nah, we're fine.
They make it shaft, and then the collared shirts. I mean, I get it, I guess, but like, man, I guess that's why they make golf specific shirts with the collars on them. But man, a cotton shirt with collar is just really too hot for the golf course.
No, yeah, you got to get the nice athletic wear. That's for sure.
All right, we got a couple silly questions before we get out of here. How about this? How long could you sit at a library and do nothing before you fell asleep?
Do nothing, maybe 30 minutes.
Okay, I'm about to be right about that. About a break time. Just all right. What is your favorite? Hold on, I gotta read what that says here. Oh, what is the favorite airline you've been on, and do you have a least favorite?
I fly United for the most part. I have all my miles with them. New Zealand, it's Star Alliance with New Zealand, so I like to rack up my miles Least favorite, obviously, like probably like Spirit or one of those. I've never even flown with them, but I've seen the Instagram nightmares.
My son hates Spirit. He's like, they charge you for snacks. That's ridiculous. He
Yeah,
cannot
they do.
stand Spirit. It's so funny. How long is the flight to New Zealand? And is it like you got stops? I mean, where do you got to stop and connect and all that?
You can fly out of several different places, but I usually take the San Francisco to New Zealand. So from there, it's like 14 hours. And then obviously from Nashville to San Fran, it's like 5. So roughly like 18, 19 hours.
Okay, not terribly bad. I mean, it's you got to do what you got to do. When was the last time you were at the zoo?
The zoo, not too long ago. I went with my nieces, probably 2 months ago.
Okay, okay. When is the last time you used a vacuum cleaner?
Yesterday.
Now, you're way better than me. It's been a minute.
That's the
uh,
golfer in me. We're OCD.
I'm more of a sweeper. I sweep a lot. I do sweep a lot, but I'm not really big on a vacuum. A vacuum's probably like once every couple weeks or so. All right. Have you ever been in a Ferrari or a Lamborghini? And do you have a favorite car?
Fun fact, they gave away Lamborghinis at one of the tournaments for hole-in-one, and 3 people got a hole-in-one that day. I have been inside it. I've been in a few of those kind of fancy cars, but I do not own one.
Okay. Do you like the Caribbean? And have you ever been to the Virgin Islands?
Never been to the Virgin Islands. Love the Caribbean. I would love to go back at some point.
Okay.
We
Do you
took
like
a cruise down there. Sorry.
Yeah, the one we go to St. Thomas, me and my son do, and the cruise ships always stop right there. But the
Yeah.
whole island, you got. I mean, there's so many different little spots. I'm not gonna sit here and say the Virgin Islands is better than any of the other places. But the thing I do like about it is that like it's obviously American soil, and they tend to speak pretty good English there. So it's not, you know what I mean. You're not gonna get all lost in French or Spanish or something like that. So that part's
Right.
really nice.
Right.
Do you like McDonald's? And what is something they had you miss?
I'm not a big McDonald's girl. I am a McDonald's girl for breakfast, though. I love the pancake sausage, like breakfast meal, or just a biscuit. I love their biscuits. They're good.
Oh, I
Just a
love it.
plain biscuit.
If you
Like,
go on the app, the app has it 2 for 1. It's great. That's what I always do. Just get one for me and one for everybody in there. Oh, it's good. Love it, love it, love it. How long would it take you to park a parallel park a car?
oh, I'm good. I'm a good driver. My mom actually told me, she said, I think you're the best parallel parker I've ever seen. You
Okay.
know why I think it's easy now? Because I've driven in so many different rental cars over the years. I'm getting good at it.
All right, here's a good. We got a question from Mick. He says, which car maker would you like to sponsor you if you had a car maker to sponsor you?
Oh, that's a good question. This is probably going to be BMW, which is pretty like, I wouldn't say lame, but it's not like Lamborghini or like Bentley or anything. But I think the BMWs would be cool, and there's so many different options, and it's still there's still like a Lamborghini. You can't fit golf clubs in a Lamborghini. What am I trying to say? It's still like relevant to your life. You know what I'm trying to say.
Right. It's so practical.
It's
Totally.
practical. That's the word. It's still practical.
Right. Yeah, I'm tall. I can't fit in those sports cars. I mean, it does me good because I probably can't afford them anyways. But I mean, I drive a Kia. I don't care. It's whatever. I'm not really a big car guy.
I'm a Jeep.
You know
I'm
what
not
I mean?
either. I don't want to waste my money.
Right, exactly. Now, do you get to? I just randomly thought of this, but do you get to? I remember so many years ago there was a case that the one guy, Casey something, where he had to take the golf cart and then he sued and stuff like that. Do you get to take the golf cart? When are there? Do you prefer? Or I'm gonna try to word this question here.
We never get to use a golf cart.
Never get to use a golf cart at all. Then, okay. Like even on the practice rounds, you can't do it then. Okay. So you never get to do the cart. Wow, the whole
6
you got to
miles
be
a day, every day.
You got to have calves like this, man. Jesus, that's insane. I couldn't. Man, I guess I could, but I mean, it seems like that half the fun of me of golfing is driving that cart. You know what I mean? It's the only place where you like, dude. At the time, Emma, I didn't even have a driver's license because this is after I had a DUI in 2018 or so. So they took away my license. Right? It was $20. He didn't even ask for license. Oh, here you go. Here's the keys. And you just drive around, smoking weed in the golf cart, chilling. It's a great time, man. It's a good. Now, would you retire just to be able to drive the golf cart, or no? You're not like that. You're not like that. You like.
Did I what?
Would you retire just so you could drive the golf cart? I'm just being silly. All right.
No way.
All right. Beatles or Queen? Out of those two bands, who would you pick?
The Beatles or Queen?
Yeah.
Beatles.
Okay. That's gonna make a lot of people happy. All right, and one more, and then we'll get out of here. What's something you haven't done yet you are sure you're gonna do by the time you're 40? And what is your advice for your future self?
I hope I have a family one day. That would be one thing, and then another thing, I want to go somewhere in Europe without my golf clubs.
That
I've never
sounds
been to
good.
Europe without my golf clubs.
You gotta get to the UK, man. The UK is great. I gotta get to more spots in Europe. I was like that when I got out of the service too. I was like, I gotta just travel and get over there. And I did. I've done
For
it a couple times.
fun.
I just love travel. Travel is just great, right? It's
Traveling's the
amazing.
best.
If you're out there, travel, man. Don't just sit in the house. And I know that's counterintuitive because we're sitting here to say, "Hey, watch us on the TV show here," but get out there and travel when you're done. All right.
Yes.
All right. Do you have anything else to promote, and how do people get a hold of you?
Instagram obviously is the best way. I feel like I don't do TikTok, so nah. But I think just like I don't know what age group watches this, but I think for me it's just been really nice to live out my dream. And I'm a little Kentucky girl from a small town that was not supposed to be a professional golfer, and here I am. So I'm very thankful. So yeah, catch me on the Golf Channel. I'm probably going to do some commentating next year too, which will be
Ooh,
pretty
okay.
cool.
You heard it here first in the Golf Channel. Miss Emma Talley's
I
gonna be doing
hope
some
so.
comedy.
I hope
Okay,
so.
crossing fingers. Yeah, definitely. All right, I'd like to thank Miss Emma Talley for coming out. Don't forget next week. Wait, what's today? 25th. The first that we're gonna be at Scott Ween's house. The 2nd of November, we're gonna have Dr. Dahil Sahand on, and then election night special Tuesday the 5th. So don't forget that. And thanks for tuning out, guys. Appreciate it, Emma.
Thank you.
I will talk to you guys later.